Hello everyone, welcome to 2021, finally. It feels good to be in a new year, and although I don't think about resolutions, I do like to set a few intentions for the year ahead, and one of those is to take a few more steps towards reducing our waste and generally reducing our impact on our lovely planet Earth. So today I'm going to talk through a few changes that you might be able to make in your life. Before we get started, in case you're new here, my name is Ines. I have a blog called Abodery where I share our family's journey to a slow, sustainable, handmade home. So one of the things that I love to talk about is planet-friendly living, sustainable living, and that is exactly what we're going to do today. So the first change that you can make in 2021 to reduce your impact on the planet is to go vegan. This is obviously a little bit controversial, and I feel slightly nervous talking about veganism on YouTube. But switching to a plant-based diet in particular is one of the best ways that you can reduce your greenhouse gas emissions and your overall carbon footprint. Even just making a few small changes can have a huge impact. So if everyone in the world only ate meat once a week, then overall it would have a huge impact on how much we are changing the climate. So my recommendation is always to start with small changes. If you're eating meat every day, try and go down to once or twice a week. If you're already vegetarian, for example, then maybe think about switching some of your dairy. As these small changes happen over time, you will realise that your lifestyle is changing without you even really noticing it. So we aren't completely vegan, but I have over the years been gradually reducing how much animal products I'm eating. So I'm practically vegetarian, and for January I've also gone vegan, and I think a lot of the dairy changes will also stick around. So even if I can't call myself fully vegan, I will be mostly plant-based for this year ahead. The second huge change you can make to reduce your impact on the planet is to stop buying new clothes. People don't often know this, but one of the biggest producers of greenhouse gases is the fashion industry. So the production of clothes produces an awful lot of waste and byproducts. So growing cotton and then processing it into a t-shirt uses a heck of a lot of water and also releases gas and waste products into the environment. So obviously we do need to wear clothes, so we can't cut them out completely. So the first thing that you can do is to make sure that you wear everything you own as much as possible. So instead of throwing something away just because it has a small hole in, think about repurposing it into something that you can continue to use. So you could turn your old t-shirts into baby clothes. I have a few tutorials on how to do that on my blog, or you can just mend things. So socks are a prime example. You get a hole in the heel of your sock, and then probably most people just think they'll throw it away straight away. But actually it's super easy and actually quite satisfying to mend a hole by darning. So again, I have a tutorial on how to do that on my blog, which I will leave in the description box. If you do need to buy a piece of clothing, then think about buying it secondhand. There are so many pieces of clothing out there, in part thanks to fast fashion. So there shouldn't really be much need to buy something new from a shop. You can go on eBay or Depop or Vinted and look for the thing you need and buy it secondhand. Another option is charity shops, which I forgot because obviously they're all closed right now, but hopefully they will open later in the year and you can do some lovely charity shop browsing. I love secondhand shopping. It's really fun to try and look for the thing that you want online or in person, and it often works out cheaper too, so excellent. The third thing that you can do is to cut down on the amount that you are using your car. This is something that I think people are aware of but really struggle to do. The convenience of a car, particularly when you have children, is hard to beat. But actually it has a huge impact over a year, over a lifetime, on how much greenhouse gas you're producing. So one of my goals for this year is to try and walk places with the kids. So when I take Clem to preschool, I'll be walking, and if I just need to pop to the shops for a few bits and pieces, then I will try to walk rather than taking the car. Also, public transport is an excellent way to try and reduce your car use. As I'm speaking in January, public transport is not an excellent option for obvious reasons, but hopefully later in the year that will become available, and definitely make the use of public transport, particularly if you're in a big city where transport connections are really excellent and reliable. The next thing you can try is to cut down on single-use plastic. I was not aware how much single-use plastic we have in our house until I started really paying attention to it, and then I saw it everywhere. And we've been on a journey to reduce it over the last few years, but we still have bits and pieces here and there that come in. So a couple of areas that you might particularly want to look at are the kitchen. So the food that you buy obviously comes wrapped in plastic a lot of the time, so vegetables and produce, you can switch to the loose versions, or you can get a veg box delivery. So we get one from Oddbox, which is just available in and around London, but there are loads of sort of local organic farm boxes that you can get where you're just getting the veg delivered in the box with very little plastic. Things like cheese products, again, will come wrapped in plastic, so you can think about reducing how much you eat those things or visiting a cheesemonger. The same goes for meat, so you could always buy meat from a butcher if you still choose to eat meat. Then in the bathroom, there is plenty of single-use plastic. So shampoo often comes in a plastic bottle, your toothbrush might be plastic, beauty products, makeup removing wipes, all of these contain plastic. So gradually use up what you have. Definitely don't throw things away, because it's much better to use something and at least get the use out of it. But then when you come to buy new, think about buying a different material other than plastic. So there are shampoo bars that you can get which come wrapped in cardboard. They're usually solid, so not producing as much carbon as they're transported because they're smaller, denser. Toothbrushes, you can usually get bamboo toothbrushes which are biodegradable, and you can get those for adults and for children if you have kids. Or if you use an electric toothbrush, then you can always use a recyclable head. I'll link the ones that I use down in the description. Instead of using makeup wipes, you could switch to using reusable makeup pads. They're usually little cotton or bamboo rounds which you just use and then wash and reuse over and over again. And then step number 5, I couldn't end this video without talking about children. One of my main focuses is how to reduce waste and impact from having kids. Kids bring all sorts of things with them. They have nappies, they need clothing, they need food. So all of the principles that I've talked about so far will apply to kids. But there are obviously some things which only relate to children. So I talk a lot about reusable nappies, as you know. Definitely think about switching to reusable nappies. If you're interested in switching to reusable nappies, then you can always just buy one nappy and try it out every other day until you feel confident with what you like and how you get on with them, and then you can gradually introduce more into your routine. You don't have to drop everything and suddenly switch. It's much better to ease yourself in and get used to the idea. There are also plenty of other ways to reduce how much you consume with children. I have a whole video on sustainable options for children, which I will link up at the top if you would like to check that out. A final thing to say is just to give yourself grace. It can be difficult when you've started on a journey of reducing your waste, reducing your impact on the planet, to start feeling guilty about things that you haven't managed to change. But I would say do what you can, focus on the steps forward rather than thinking about all the ways that you think you're failing. No one can do this perfectly, and so we just have to take the steps we can in the right direction. That is all from me for today. For more ideas on how to live more sustainably, you can head to my blog. I will leave some links for relevant posts down in the description. But otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye!